This is a short video about Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi mystic, and A Course in Miracles, talking about the similarities and the differences. I'm just going to go through some very basic stuff and leave the rest for another video, but hopefully get into some interesting things right now. So here's what I asked ChatGPT, but before we even get into that, let me just speak from my own understanding. Looking at Ibn Arabi, I see many similarities between his ideas and A Course in Miracles. And I also made a case in a previous video today about how the great mystics of the ages have discovered the same truth, it seems. And they've expressed it in different ways. Some of the ways they've expressed it have been similar, but there have been some notable differences, and we can't overlook the differences, but we also cannot overlook the similarities and how close the ideas are to each other. So let's get into it a little bit. And let me just say that, and I need to do a whole video on the different isms, like you have pantheism, panentheism, monotheism, polytheism, you have monism, you have all these isms. And it's important to distinguish and to be clear about what ism we're talking about. And some scholars and some thinkers describe Ibn Arabi's basic idea about the unity of being as monism. And that's really seems to be what A Course in Miracles is getting at, seems to be what Advaita Vedanta is getting at. Now, there are nuances for sure, so we have to look at that as well. But here's what I asked ChatGPT, and then it's going to get dark here anyway. But how close are Ibn Arabi's mystical ideas to what we find in A Course in Miracles? Some of what he taught seems to be a kind of monism similar to Shankara and ACIM, although ACIM is not explicit in its theology and never uses the word nondualism. So A Course in Miracles never uses the word nondualism, and there are people in the world of A Course in Miracles that do not think that A Course in Miracles is non-dualistic at all. It's a very interesting debate that I've talked about on this channel, but you haven't heard it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get into it right now. But was Ibn Arabi considered heretical, partly or mainly because he did speak of monism, of Allah not as a supreme being, but more of a supreme beingness, the one and only true reality? So, as I understand it, the one name, basically, Ibn Arabi said that the one reality, it cannot be named. There's no name for it. But what he did use was the word al-haq, meaning the truth or the real, which is also very similar to these other traditions, right? So here's what ChatGPT said. Ibn Arabi and A Course in Miracles sit in very different historical, cultural, and theological worlds, but some of their core mystical intuitions overlap strikingly, especially around non-duality, the unreality of separation, and the idea that only the divine reality truly is. Below is a careful comparison that highlights both the resonances and the crucial differences. I'm going to put this all in the description so you can look at it in your own time. I'm going to just go over some of the most salient points here, not get into the nitty-gritty so much, but you can read that on your own. The core parallel, only the one is real. Ibn Arabi said God is the only real being. Al-Haq, he called it Al-Haq, right? The truth or the real. And there was a Sufi mystic apparently that was put to death for saying, Ana Al-Haq, I am the truth, right? Everything else exists only as self-disclosure, tajalli, or manifestation of that being, etc., etc. This does echo Advaita Vedanta and ACIM's metaphysics, but with important differences in framing. ACIM says ACIM's metaphysics is more radical, God is the only reality. The world is a dream. Separation never happened. The Son of God is the one Christ mind mistakenly dreaming. Now, this could be semantics. Like Ibn Arabi could be as radical as A Course in Miracles. So I'm not sure if ChatGPT might not be considering the semantical issues at play here, but the overlap is both say only the divine is truly real, only God is real. The world of multiplicity has no independent existence. The human experience of separation is a cognitive or metaphysical mistake. And I talked about that in a previous video about the cosmic mistake, but it's not that God made a mistake. It's rather that God has never changed. God has, God does not make mistakes because God, is only perfect oneness, perfect unity. So there's no mistake that could possibly be made. But the dreamer of the dream can make the mistake that the dream is real, and that is a mistake, right? Why Ibn Arabi was seen as heretical, he was controversial in Muslim theological circles for several reasons. His language borders on monism. He often writes as though the world is identical with God in some mode. God manifests as creation. Everything is a theophany. He seems to be pantheistic, but he's more monistic. Now, and both are not kosher according to, more fundamentalist traditional Muslim thinkers or traditionalists. He blurs the creature distinction. So there has to be, according to the more traditional perspective, there has to be a distinction between creator and creation. You can't just say they are one, right? Because that's heretical, right? To say that, but that is what non-duality is getting at. Is the idea that ultimately they are one, that creation and creator are one. Now, there's also this idea of the immanence of God and also the transcendence of God. It's a paradox. We'd have to talk about it more in depth, but you find this paradox in other mystical traditions as well, that somehow that God is everywhere in everything, and yet God is also transcendent. His teaching was seen as, Ibn Arabi's teaching was seen as too mystical, too non-dual, too close to saying God and creation are one, too universalist, too philosophically bold. So he also was, he also said, and I read quotes about where he apparently said, don't confine yourself to one belief system, but be open, essentially. He was saying, there's a path for every human being. There's not one right religion necessarily. Everyone has their own path, right? Everyone has their own path to God. And I can understand how that would seem heretical, because he's not saying that Islam is the only true way, or that's what it sounds like, at least. Ibn Arabi is closer to ACIM than almost any other major Islamic theologian. This is a very important statement from ChatGPT, but still not as uncompromisingly non-dual as ACIM or Shankara. So he's not as radical non-dualist as you find it in Advaita Vedanta or ACIM, because those are more pure non-dualist, whereas Ibn Arabi is non-duality, but creation is a real divine self-disclosure. So creation is real in some sense, but according to Shankara and Advaita Vedanta and ACIM, it's not. It's an illusion. It's total illusion. In summary, let's just read the summary and then we'll end this video. Was Ibn Arabi considered heretical? Partly because his teaching sounded monistic, Yes, many scholars thought he blurred the creator-creation line too much. Are his ideas close to ACIM's non-dualism? Surprisingly close in spirit, though not identical. Both teach that only the divine is truly real. Both say the world is not ultimately real, though Ibn Arabi softens that statement. So he's not as pure, non-dual, not as radical as ACIM or Advaita Vedanta. Both see human identity as divine in nature. Both use inner revelation as the core of spiritual realization. All right, so the human is really divine. Our essence is divine, and we can know that through direct experience, through mystical experience. But ACIM is far more absolute. The world is a dream. Separation never occurred. Ibn Arabi retains a greater sense of relationality and reverence for the divine names manifesting in creation. And again, that might just be semantics. That might be that Ibn Arabi was also, because A Course in Miracles sounds dualistic in places too, but you know, if you read it closely and if you read the deeper message of it, it's really radical non-dualism. That's what it seems, at least to me and to others. It seems radically non-dualistic, and it could be the same with Ibn Arabi. Maybe on some not as deep level, he is speaking dualistically, but he's really getting at this pure non-dualism. Could be, you know, I'm just bringing that up as a possibility. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and thank you so much for tuning in. See you soon. Bye bye.